Hi, I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. It is March the 19th, a Wednesday, and it is finally a day where we have in the low 50s and no wind, or next to no wind. And so finally, the bees today are taking advantage of a little pollen substitute. I've had a bit out here and the stuff on the edge here got wet. But I put some more dry stuff on there, and they're starting to take advantage of it. Let's go to a place in the sun where it's a bit warmer. Let's see what else we can find. Here comes another. Here. Finally, the sound of bees foraging. You see the ones on the back wall there have lots of it packed on their legs, and they're sort of just packing it in there, getting the dust off the edges. So this is pollen substitute. I use a mixture of two different pollen substitutes just to improve the sort of variety of materials in there. Pollen substitute is just that, a substitute for pollen. It's not necessarily as good as it could be. Definitely not as good as fresh pollen. And as soon as there's fresh pollen out there, the bees will be all over that. But this pollen substitute acts like a first start. Gets them. It's lovely to see them foraging. This one usually over here is usually full of bees, but this year so far, not so much. They like that other one better. Got a few in here. Intimidated by the camera, I guess. So a fair number of the colonies are busy foraging. One or two dead outs in there. So we'll be sorting them out, but you can see some of those hives pretty active. And we've got another bit of pollen substitute here. And you'll find bees foraging like this, and bird feeders, chicken feed, anything where the grain has been ground to a little bit of a dust, or there's been flour put on it in order to make it flow better. And so they'll take those small grains of things like soy flour and yeast and stuff, because it's very much the size of pollen. Now, it's not as nutritious, but the bees will certainly take advantage of it while they can get hold of it, while there's nothing else. But in only a few weeks, we're going to have it in the trees. Maple trees are budding now, and as soon as that's there, they're not going to be interested in this stuff. The day those maples open up is the day that these bees will stop entirely going to this stuff. They like it when there's nothing else, but for now there is nothing else, so this is what they're going to go for. Go back to the other one. So this is the first day that it's been warm enough here for the bees to actually forage for something. So it's nice to give them some reward for their foraging work. Sadly though, I think in the next week's forecast, we've only got one more day like this where it'll be in the 50s and reasonably low wind. The other days that have been in the 50s, the wind has been too high for the bees to fly with any significance at any rate. At least they wouldn't forage, they'd fly and go to the bathroom and that sort of thing. But they weren't foraging because it was too cold for them to. But now, we're finally getting a day where they can do it. So you can pretty much put the pollen substitute into just about anything. The warmer it is, the better. So the more sun you can get on it, the more likely the bees are to forage in it. And as I say, it's only during these 2 to 3 weeks prior to the natural pollen being available that they're actually going to take advantage of it. But it's like putting out a giant flower for them, and all of a sudden it feels like spring. I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. See you next time.